terrorism is going to be. And then we built a tremendous piece of the wall, and then we're going to build more. We're going to have strong, incredible borders.
All right, the targets of Donald Trump's ire across the country and around the world are scrambling to prepare for what happens after...
For decades, the United States has faced the challenge of illegal immigration and substance trafficking, especially along its southern border with Mexico. Mexican cartels have continually devised ways to smuggle substances and people across this border. One of their most audacious methods has been constructing secret tunnels to bypass border security. However, the landscape of this ongoing battle began to shift during Donald Trump's presidency, when he launched his ambitious plan to construct a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. Trump's border wall became one of the most polarizing topics in American politics. Supporters hailed it as a long-overdue measure to secure the border and combat illegal immigration. Critics, on the other hand, argued it was an expensive, ineffective, and symbolic gesture, rather than a practical solution. Nevertheless, parts of the wall were built, and its impact has been both tangible and symbolic. To understand this development, we must look deeper into the cartel's operations, the challenges faced by law enforcement, and the larger implications of Trump's actions. The Sinaloa cartel is one of the most infamous and powerful criminal organizations in the world. Over the years, it has dominated the substance trade and trafficking every single other substance you name across international borders. Known for its vast network and strategic methods, the cartel often relied on stealth rather than confrontation. But this careful balance was disrupted in July 2024 when U.S. authorities arrested key leaders like Ismael El Mayo Zambada and Joaquin Guzman Lopez, son of the notorious Lord El Chapo. These arrests left a leadership vacuum, causing chaos within the cartel's ranks. In the wake of these arrests, a shocking message emerged from the Sinaloa cartel. The memo allegedly gave its members the green light to target U.S. Border Patrol agents. This marked a significant escalation, as cartels have traditionally avoided direct conflict with American law to avoid severe consequences. The situation became even more volatile as thousands of migrants moved toward the border, fearing stricter policies under Trump's potential return to power. Trump's border wall, spanning approximately 458 miles, was constructed with advanced security measures. It stands 18 to 30 feet high in various sections, with steel bollards reinforced by deep underground foundations. The wall also features fiber optic cables to detect tunneling activity, motion sensors, high-resolution cameras, and lighting systems to enhance surveillance. In addition to ground-level security, drones and aerial surveillance provide law enforcement with an expanded view of border activity. These measures were designed to deter illegal crossings and send a strong message about Trump's commitment to border security. Building the wall was not without challenges. When Trump first proposed it during his 2016 campaign, he described it as a big, beautiful wall that would stop illegal immigration and substance trafficking. But funding the project proved to be a major hurdle. Trump initially proposed various methods, including tariffs on Mexican imports and blocking remittances from undocumented workers. These ideas faced intense opposition. Eventually, Trump signed Executive Order 13767, redirecting federal funds toward construction. This decision led to political standoffs, government shutdowns, and lawsuits from environmental groups and lawmakers. Despite these setbacks, by 2020, over 450 miles of new or replacement barriers had been built. Environmentalists raised concerns about the wall's impact on wildlife, while critics argued it diverted resources from more effective border security measures. After Joe Biden took office in 2021, he paused construction, citing concerns over cost and practicality. But with Trump's potential return to power, there are plans to expand the wall by an additional 250 miles, further proving its role as a centerpiece of his immigration agenda. Trump's rhetoric about immigrants has been another contentious aspect of his presidency. He has often portrayed undocumented immigrants as a threat to national security and the cultural fabric of the U.S. His controversial statements, such as accusing immigrants of bringing crime and poisoning the blood of the nation, have drawn criticism for being inflammatory and divisive. These views shaped his policies, including his 2024 campaign proposal for mass deportation. Trump's plan aims to remove approximately 11 million undocumented immigrants, making it the largest domestic deportation operation in U.S. history. His administration intends to use fast-track deportation processes and even deploy military forces under the Alien Enemies Act and Insurrection Act. While Trump's immigration policies focus on border security, his approach to combating substance cartels has been equally aggressive. The opioid crisis in the U.S. has reached catastrophic levels, with over 100,000 drug-related deaths annually. This crisis, fueled by the rise of synthetic opioids like fentanyl, has placed immense pressure on law enforcement and healthcare systems. The Sinaloa cartel and other Mexican substance cartels have capitalized on this epidemic, flooding the U.S. with cheap and potent substances. To combat the cartels, Trump proposed extreme measures, including the use of assassination teams to eliminate key cartel leaders. This controversial idea drew parallels to counterterrorism strategies, where high-value targets are neutralized to disrupt organizational operations. While such tactics have been effective in some contexts, they pose significant risks when applied to the trade. Cartels are deeply entrenched and resilient, often responding to leadership losses with violence and reorganization. One of the challenges of targeting cartel leaders is their ability to remain hidden. These individuals operate in secrecy, using safe houses, encrypted communications, and a network of loyal informants. Any overt action against them could provoke retaliation, putting American law enforcement and civilians at risk. Mexican authorities might view unilateral U.S. actions as a violation of their sovereignty, straining diplomatic relations. Another proposal from Trump involved using precision-guided missiles to destroy cartel these substances labs in Mexico. While this idea shows his willingness to think outside the box, it raises ethical, legal, and logistical concerns. Destroying labs might disrupt production temporarily, but it could also escalate violence and lead to unintended civilian casualties. And such actions could destabilize regions already grappling with cartel-related violence. The cartel's influence is not limited to Mexico. Over the years, they have expanded their operations into the U.S., partnering with local gangs to distribute substances and establish control over territories. The Drug Enforcement Administration has reported that cartels like Sinaloa and Jalisco Nueva Generación dominate the U.S. substance market. Their methods range from sophisticated smuggling techniques to brutal violence against rivals and law enforcement. The impact of cartels on American communities is devastating. Addiction, overdose deaths, and drug-related violence have torn apart families and strained public resources. In 2023 alone, there were nearly 38,000 fentanyl-related deaths in the first half of the year. Cities across the U.S. have witnessed an increase in crime and homelessness as a result of the substance crisis. Law enforcement agencies are overwhelmed, and the public is demanding stronger action. Now, to smuggle the substance across the U.S.-Mexico border, the cartel uses creative methods. Sophisticated tunnels equipped with lighting, ventilation, and rail systems allow the transport of large quantities of fentanyl without detection. Vehicles with hidden compartments, human couriers, and even drones are also used to evade border security. The cartel's operations are not limited to substance trafficking. They are also involved in money laundering, arms trafficking, and other illicit activities, making them a formidable force. The Sinaloa cartel's rival, the CJNG, is equally dangerous. Led by Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, the CJNG is one of the most violent and powerful criminal organizations in Mexico. Since its emergence in the early 2000s, the CJNG has rapidly expanded its operations, especially in the lucrative fentanyl market in the United States. Like the Sinaloa cartel, the CJNG sources chemicals from China and manufactures fentanyl in guarded labs. The CJNG employs methods similar to the Sinaloa cartel to smuggle substances into the U.S. Once across the border, their network spreads the substances to major cities and rural areas. Despite increased pressure from law enforcement, the cartel's adaptability and brutality make it a persistent threat. A different example of how these cartels operate came to light in 2020. Ricardo Ramos Medina, a former Mexican police officer turned cartel operative, undertook a dangerous mission. Starting in Tijuana, he crossed the border into Southern California, rented a vehicle, and picked up a significant amount of methamphetamine. His destination was Montana, a state increasingly targeted by cartels due to its profitability. Despite his experience in such operations, Medina's journey ended when authorities stopped him in Butte, Montana. They discovered 2 pounds of pure methamphetamine in his vehicle, enough to supply an entire town for days. Medina's arrest was a major breakthrough. Authorities revealed that his capture was part of a larger investigation that dismantled a substance trafficking network responsible for moving at least 2,000 pounds of meth and 700,000 fentanyl-laced pills into Montana over 3 years. Trump's proposed solutions to the cartel problem include seizing assets from gang members and using those funds to compensate victims of crime. This idea, while popular among his supporters, faces practical and legal challenges. Tracking and confiscating cartel assets require extensive resources and coordination, but such measures could deter criminal activities and provide some relief to victims. Now, whatever your thoughts are, just write them down below. And while you're down there, make sure to give this video a like and also hit that subscribe button for more upcoming updates.